Commencing transmission. Engaging scramblers. Proxy chain initialized. And now, live from his hidden base at the Earth's core, the future ruler of Earth, Doomcock.
George Lucas just killed Star Wars. Some of you will say, well, Star Wars was already dead, and that's a valid point. But if there was any life whatsoever left in Star Wars, if there was even the faintest glimmer of consciousness left in its dead brain, if there was even one more heartbeat lurking for the EKG to record, all of those things are done. Star Wars' coffin lid is now nailed firmly shut. Its head is cut off and stuffed with garlic. Star Wars has been buried at a crossroads, and it will never return, not even as a reanimated, shambling corpse. It is all dead, and George Lucas finished it off. George Lucas dealt the death blow, according to Variety today, because they just published an article titled, "George Lucas backs Disney board and CEO Bob Iger amid proxy fight. Creating magic is not for amateurs," he says. Unbelievable. I am going to try very, very, very hard to restrain myself for a few minutes. And let me just go ahead and get some of the basic facts out. And then I'm afraid I'm going to just have to rant because I'm really disgusted. I used to look up to George Lucas. I thought this guy was amazing. Star Wars was one of the highlights of my childhood. I love Star Wars, or I loved it. At least I loved the first 3 movies. That will never change. I will always love them. But this gentleman, George Lucas, is a villain at this point. This guy is a clown. This guy is a sellout. This guy is a whipped cur who is actually now bending the knee, being a lapdog for the very people that abused him, cheated him, the white slavers that took his property and shit all over it. And George Lucas sucks up to them and says, yes, Bob Iger, I will be your bitch. I will back the Disney board. I will back Bob Iger. Creating magic is not for amateurs, really. And do you think that the bullshit that has been done with Disney Star Wars is fucking magic? Is this clown out of his fucking mind? All right, I'm gonna try, like I said, to calm down. But this is one of the most disgusting betrayals from a disgusting betrayer that I've ever, taking the original classic versions of Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, taking those away from us and hiding them underneath a special edition, which is like differently abled edition as far as I'm concerned. That was a big enough sin. That was a huge sin, not just against Star Wars fans, but against fans of cinema, fans of culture, the American zeitgeist, because those films changed the world, and to not have them available in the finest possible presentation these days is a crime against history. And that is bad enough to condemn George Lucas. It was also bad enough that the prequel trilogy was so lackluster. I rewrote the entire prequel trilogy, and I'm thinking about putting those out on video because God knows somebody's got to do some good fucking Star Wars at this point, because Disney sure isn't going to do it. I'll get to the Acolyte trailer a little later in the day, but good God, This is much more important than the Acolyte trailer. This was the last glimmer of hope for fucking Star Wars, and it's gone. It is gone. Here's the facts of the matter as reported in Variety. Quote, Star Wars mastermind George Lucas, Disney's largest individual shareholder, has come out with a statement supporting Disney's board and CEO Bob Iger, urging Mouse House investors to reject bids by two activist investor groups to take seats on the media company's board. Creating magic is not for amateurs, Lucas said in a statement released Tuesday. When I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because of my longtime admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. When Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. Fuck you, George. What a clown. You forget about your white slaver comment? What a piece of shit. He continues. God damn, this is making me sick. No one knows Disney better. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney. I can't hardly even read this shit. And Bob's track record of driving long-term value. Have you looked at the fucking stock, you moron? I have voted all of my shares for Disney's 12 directors and urge other shareholders to do the same. You fucking lackey. I don't know if George Lucas has lost his mind or lost his soul. But this is not the George Lucas that I remember. This is like some kind of Disney parody of George Lucas. I wonder, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, if we're living this right now, because this is disgusting. Creating magic is not for amateurs? Really? What the fuck? I am beyond disgusted. I am fucking furious. This clown, this idiot, this hack has shit on his own legacy. This idiot has torn down everything that he built, discredited himself, and doomed his child for the rest of time. There will not be a Star Wars renaissance. Have you looked at the fucking Acolyte trailer? That right there is Disney Star Wars, and it is shit. I could not be more fucking angry. And I could not be more sorry for all of the fans out there who thought George Lucas was a great guy, who thought that George Lucas was a hero, who looked up to George Lucas. George Lucas is no hero. He proved that today. Bending over for Bob Iger after Bob Iger already shafted him once, and we know that it's true. George came on and said, "This is what it feels like to sell your child to white slavers." And he bends over again and says, "Thank you, sir, may I have another? Thank you, sir, may I have another? Thank you, sir, may I have another?" I cannot believe I am saying this, but fuck you, George Lucas. So there you have it, my friends. I don't know what else there is to say. Star Wars is fucking beyond dead. George Lucas, like, I don't know, went through a afterlife portal and tracked down Star Wars in the afterlife and stabbed it again. Stabbed its ghost. God damn it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think that maybe this really is the end times, folks. You know, because everything is going to shit at once. And people that you thought were your childhood heroes, worthless. Worthless, worthless, worthless. We are fond of blaming Kathleen Kennedy for destroying Star Wars, but who put her there? George Lucas put her there. George Lucas's bad judgment, George Lucas's terrible, terrible misunderstanding of his own creation. George Lucas is the emperor. KK is just his little Darth Mauler. She just did his bidding. Whether subconscious or conscious, Star Wars is dead because of George Lucas, and there's nothing else to be said about that. I am just goddamn furious. from the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock, disgusted and enraged, bidding you all, my friends, ho ho, stay angry.